Welcome to today's deep dive.
We are so incredibly excited to jump into this topic with you.
We really are. So, imagine you were having one of those genuinely terrible, horrible days.
Oh, I know the feeling.
Right. You spill your hot coffee all over your laptop. You completely miss your train. You are stressed. You are
A
exhausted.
total disaster of day.
Exactly. And then someone walks up to you, gives you this big, bright smile, and says, "Hey, just think positive."
Oh, wow. That almost makes you want to scream, doesn't it?
It really does. I mean, it is so frustrating because it sounds like, well, like a tired cliche.
Yeah, it sounds like a cheap motivational poster you see hanging in a dentist's waiting room.
Right. Just think positive. When you are in the middle of a stressful day, that advice feels completely dismissive of whatever you're actually going through.
It's usually meant well, but you're right. It completely misses the reality of human emotion in that exact moment.
Exactly. But here is the incredible twist, and really the entire mission of our deep dive today.
I love this part.
What if that annoying cliche is actually backed by hardcore biological science?
And that is the core of what we're unpacking today. We're looking at a fascinating stack of research that proves optimism isn't just a polite social habit.
Or an empty platitude?
Right. It's not an empty platitude. It's a powerful physical cognitive tool. It literally rewires the human brain.
It's completely mind-blowing to me. And, because this deep dive is crafted specifically for you, our listener, we are going to weave a fun language layer into our conversation today.
This we are.
As we explore the science of the brain, we're going to highlight some fantastic, highly expressive English phrases.
These are phrases that native speakers use all the time.
Exactly, and they will help you discuss this exact psychological topic beautifully.
I think it's a great approach. I mean, we get to explore the biology of the mind while also picking up the precise vocabulary needed to talk about it.
Right, so let's transition from that annoying cliche into the literal physical biology of your brain.
Let's do it.
What is actually happening inside your head when you choose optimism over panic? I mean, it really comes down to chemical warfare, doesn't it?
From a biological perspective, yeah. Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Our thoughts directly dictate our brain chemistry.
Wow.
It all starts with how the brain interprets the world around it. When you constantly focus on negative thoughts or obsess over everything going wrong.
The brain perceives a physical threat.
Exactly.
And it doesn't really know the difference between a modern inconvenience and a historical life or death danger.
It doesn't, not at all. To your ancient brain hardware, a spilled coffee or a looming work deadline or, say, an angry email from your boss, it triggers the exact same alarm bells as a dangerous predator chasing you.
Oh, wow. That is wild.
Right. It registers a threat, and it activates the body's stress response. And when it does that, it floods your system with a hormone called cortisol.
Cortisol, right. We hear about all the time as the stress hormone. But how exactly does it do damage? We hear that cortisol is bad for us, but what is it mechanically doing to the body if we, stay stressed for too long?
Well, in a true survival situation, a quick burst of cortisol is incredibly helpful.
Because it gives you energy.
Yes, it pulls energy away from long-term, non-essential functions and pushes all that energy right into your muscles so you can fight or run away.
Okay, that makes sense.
But when you are just sitting at your desk, stressing over an email, that cortisol stays in your system. And because it's constantly diverting energy away from your body's maintenance systems, over time, it physically suppresses your immune system.
Oh, wow. So chronic negative thinking is essentially like having a smoke detector in your house that is constantly loudly blaring.
Yes.
It's exhausting, and it drains the battery completely, and that battery is your immune system.
That is the perfect way to visualize it. You're living in a constant state of biological emergency.
Which is terrifying.
Furthermore, chronic cortisol exposure actually impairs the hippocampus.
And what does the hippocampus do?
It's the part of your brain responsible for forming new memories and learning. So you are literally making it harder for your brain to function.
That is incredible. But the research points out that the opposite is also true, right?
Yes, thankfully. Practicing positive thinking triggers the production of completely different chemicals. It releases neurotransmitters like serotonin and endorphins.
Which are the chemicals responsible for feelings of happiness, relaxation, and even physical pain relief.
Okay, so if negative thinking triggers an alarm and positive thinking releases these calming chemicals, wait, is positive thinking essentially just a chemical painkiller?
That's a really interesting way to look at it.
Are we just trying to numb the stress?
It's a fair question, but no, it goes much deeper than just masking the pain.
Oh, really?
Yeah, choosing optimism is a fundamental operational shift in how your brain processes reality. You see, optimism actually stimulates a very specific advanced area of the brain called the prefrontal
The
cortex.
prefrontal cortex, that's the brain's executive center, right?
Exactly. It handles logic, complex problem solving, and emotional regulation.
Yes, it's the rational part of your mind. Now, here is where the mechanism gets truly fascinating.
Okay, I'm ready.
When your prefrontal cortex is highly active, it physically sends inhibitory signals to another part of the brain called the amygdala.
And the amygdala is the fear center. It's
Yeah.
basically the primitive anxiety machine.
Yes, it is. So by engaging the logical, optimistic part of your brain, you are physically turning down the volume on the anxious, fearful part of your brain.
Wow.
You are using logic to dampen panic.
Okay, so when people tell you to focus on the positive, they aren't just giving you emotional advice.
Not at all.
And by the way, for those of you tuning in to expand your vocabulary with us today, to look on the bright side is our first key phrase.
Yes, it is.
It's a very common, very natural phrase. To look on the bright side, it means to find the positive or hopeful parts of a difficult situation.
It's a great phrase to describe this exact cognitive shift.
So, based on what you just explained about the prefrontal cortex turning down the amygdala, we can see that to look on the bright side isn't just a polite choice.
No, it's not.
It's a physiological necessity to lower your physical stress.
It really is. It is required for your long-term biological health. You must engage the prefrontal cortex to keep your brain functioning properly and to protect your immune system.
Okay, but this brings up a massive question.
What's that?
If finding that optimism is scientifically so good for us, and if it protects our bodies so well, why is it so incredibly hard to do?
Yes.
Why does our brain always seem to default to panic and anxiety?
Because we're fighting a very stubborn evolutionary roadblock.
An evolutionary roadblock.
Yes, the sources explain this beautifully. Despite the amazing biological benefits of optimism, the human brain is naturally wired to notice threats first. Psychologists refer to this as the negativity bias.
The negativity bias. How did that bias develop? Is it just like a leftover survival trait?
Precisely. Evolutionarily speaking, our ancient ancestors had to obsess over dangers just to survive.
Right.
If an early human heard a rustle in the tall grass, they had two choices. They could assume it was just the wind, or they could assume it was a hungry predator.
I see. And if they assumed it was the wind and they were wrong.
They didn't survive to pass on their genes.
Right. Game over.
Exactly. The cost of missing a threat was death. The cost of missing something positive, like, say, a beautiful sunset or a really nice tree, was basically zero.
So, evolution favored the brains that naturally latched on to bad news and worst-case scenarios.
Yes, it did.
I have to say, that feels deeply unfair.
It really does.
We are walking around modern cities dealing with minor inconveniences like traffic and slow Wi-Fi, but we are forced to use hardware designed to survive in a dangerous jungle.
That's exactly what's happening.
Our brains are actively working against our modern happiness.
It does feel unfair, and it explains why anxiety is so prevalent today. We are fighting our own ancient biology. It takes conscious, deliberate effort to override thousands of years of evolutionary programming.
Which is incredibly hard work.
It is.
We have to actively search for the good in order to balance out the brain's natural obsession with the bad.
Exactly.
And that brings us to our second key phrase today to help you talk about this challenge. Every cloud has a silver lining.
Oh, that's a highly descriptive idiom.
It is. Every cloud has a silver lining. Imagine a dark, heavy storm cloud blocking the sun.
Okay.
But right around the very edges of that dark cloud, the sun is shining from behind, creating a bright, shiny silver edge.
It's a beautiful image.
It really is. The phrase means that absolutely every bad or difficult situation has a good or positive side to it if you look hard enough.
And recognizing that every cloud has a silver lining is the exact mechanism for overriding that evolutionary negativity bias.
Really, just recognizing it.
Well, it requires conscious effort to find that small piece of hope. You have to actively step in and force your brain to search for the valuable lesson within a painful situation.
But how do we actually do that without feeling completely fake?
That's the challenge, right?
Yeah, let's talk about the practical application. Because honestly, if I'm stuck in awful traffic and I'm late for an important meeting, telling myself about silver linings just makes me feel a bit ridiculous.
I get that.
It feels forced.
That is a very real friction, and it's where most people give up on positive thinking.
Okay, so what's the secret?
The key isn't to lie to yourself about the traffic. The key is shifting the underlying framework of how you view challenges.
Interesting.
The research outlines a clear process for this, and it begins with moving from a fixed mindset to a growth mindset.
Okay, let's break those terms down. A fixed mindset of fear versus a growth mindset of optimism.
Right. A fixed mindset assumes that a bad situation is permanent and that your abilities are strictly limited.
Okay.
It looks at the traffic jam and sees a total dead end.
Right.
A growth mindset, however, allows the brain to look at the exact same situation and see an opportunity, or at least a manageable challenge. It sees the traffic jam as a chance to listen to an audiobook, or simply a moment to practice patience.
It's about fundamentally changing your perspective.
Exactly.
Which perfectly introduces our third key phrase for you. To change one's mindset.
A very useful phrase.
To change one's mindset. It simply means to completely transform your general attitude, your deeply held way of thinking, or your expectations about life.
Right. And to change one's mindset from fixed to growth isn't something that just happens automatically.
No, I wouldn't think.
You have to train for it. The research gives us two very specific, actionable exercises to build this habit.
Let's look at the first exercise, gratitude journaling.
Yes.
This involves writing down 3 specific things you are grateful for every single day.
Exactly right.
I'll admit, this sounds a little too simple to be effective. How does writing down a few things on a piece of paper physically alter the brain?
It has to do with how the brain directs its attention networks. Because of that negativity bias we discussed, your brain's radar is naturally tuned to scan for threats. It's constantly looking for what's wrong.
Right, looking for the tiger in the grass.
Exactly. But when you establish a daily habit where you know you have to write down 3 positive things at the end of the day,
Yeah.
you force your brain to actively scan your environment for positive elements.
So you're giving your brain a new target to look for throughout the day.
Exactly. You are manually directing your attention. It's similar to when you decide to buy a specific model of a car, and suddenly you see that exact car everywhere on the road.
Oh, yes. I know exactly what you mean.
They were always there, but your brain is finally tuned to notice them. Gratitude journaling tunes your brain to notice the positive things that are already happening around you.
Wow.
You are deliberately breaking the automatic focus on negativity.
You're manually telling the prefrontal cortex, hey, go find something nice.
That's exactly it.
That makes a lot of sense. And what about the second exercise from the sources? It's called positive self-talk.
Yes. This exercise targets the automatic negative phrases that repeat quietly in our own minds all day long.
We all have those.
The goal is to consciously catch those thoughts and intentionally rewrite them.
The sources give a really practical example of this. Let's say you are faced with a very hard task at work.
Okay.
The automatic, deeply wired thought might be, this is too difficult, I can't do this. How do we rewrite that?
You pause, you catch the thought, and you intentionally change the sentence to, this is a chance to learn something new, or this will be a good challenge for me to figure out.
And what is happening biologically in that tiny moment of pausing and rewriting the sentence?
Well, when you think this is too difficult, your amygdala fires up.
Fear center.
Right. You feel a spike of anxiety, fear, and the urge to quit.
Yeah.
But the moment you consciously pause and formulate a new constructive sentence like, this is a chance to learn, you engage the prefrontal cortex.
Wow.
You bridge the gap between reactive fear and conscious logic. You literally change the brain's chemical reaction in real time.
That is so empowering. You are using the software of your conscious thoughts to fix the hardware of your physical brain.
That's a fantastic way to put it.
But doing this once or twice isn't going to permanently change anything, right?
No, it won't.
What is the long-term biological payoff if you do these exercises every single day?
This is where we see a concept called neuroplasticity in action.
Neuroplasticity.
Yes. Neuroplasticity is the brain's physical ability to reorganize itself by forming brand new neural connections throughout your entire life.
Okay.
It proves that optimism isn't just an inherited personality trait, it is a trainable skill.
So it's very much like building a muscle at the gym.
Yes, exactly.
Nah.
There's a famous rule in neuroscience. Neurons that fire together wire together. When you practice a thought, the nerve cells in your brain fire.
So through consistent daily practice of gratitude and positive self-talk, the brain literally builds stronger, thicker physical pathways for optimism.
Exactly. As you repeatedly use those positive pathways, the brain reinforces them. It adds biological insulation to those specific neural circuits, making the signals travel much faster and more efficiently.
That is amazing.
Over time, optimism requires less and less conscious effort because the physical pathway in your brain has become wider and stronger.
And the negative pathways, the ones you stop using, they start to weaken.
Yes, through a process called synaptic pruning.
Synaptic pruning.
Right. If you don't use those anxious pathways as often, the brain slowly dismantles them to save energy.
That is incredible. And this brings us to our final two key phrases to describe this long-term success.
Excellent.
Putting in the daily effort to catch your thoughts and rewrite them is hard work. It takes time.
It certainly does.
But building those strong neural pathways will eventually pay off.
Yes.
To pay off is our fourth phrase. To pay off. It means to result in success or to bring good advantages after a period of hard work or effort.
And the payoff here is profound.
Right.
The more you practice, the easier it becomes to naturally default to optimism.
And when it does pay off, you achieve the ultimate goal, described by our fifth and final key phrase today. Against all odds.
Against all odds.
This means achieving a great success despite having a massive number of difficulties, obstacles, or disadvantages.
Right. Because when those neural pathways are fully reinforced, your brain is physically ready to handle immense stress.
Wow.
You can stay hopeful and motivated even when you are facing extreme difficulties against all odds.
Your baseline shifts entirely.
Yes, it does.
You aren't just barely surviving the bad days. You're emotionally resilient enough to navigate them without flooding your body with toxic cortisol.
Exactly.
You protect your physical health simply by managing your mental state.
And that is the ultimate value of this research. Engaging in these habits is the single most effective way to clear away mental stress and build long-term emotional resilience.
It's an amazing journey. We started with chemical warfare, we navigated the evolutionary roadblock of our ancient brains, and we learned how to literally rewire our physical hardware.
We covered a lot of ground.
We really did. Now, as promised, before we wrap up this deep dive, we are moving into our special vocabulary review section.
This is crucial for making sure these concepts really stick with you so you can use them confidently.
Exactly. Let's clearly and enthusiastically recap our 5 key phrases one by one with a quick summary of what they mean.
Sounds good.
Here we go. Number 1, to look on the bright side. This means to actively find the positive or hopeful parts of a difficult situation.
Perfect. Number 2, every cloud has a silver lining. This is the visual idiom, meaning that absolutely every bad or difficult situation has a good or positive side to it.
Number 3, to change one's mindset. This means to completely transform your general attitude, your deeply held way of thinking, or your expectations about life.
Number 4, to pay off. This means to result in success or bring good advantages after a period of hard work or effort.
And finally, number 5, against all odds. This means achieving a great success despite having a massive number of difficulties, obstacles, or disadvantages.
Excellent review. Mastering those phrases will definitely elevate how you discuss psychology, biology, and personal growth.
Absolutely. Well, as we bring this deep dive to a close, we want to leave you with a final thought to ponder.
Yes.
We've talked a lot today about how our conscious thoughts can physically alter our brain chemistry and structure through neuroplasticity.
We have. The science clearly shows that the things we repeatedly focus on literally shape the physical wiring of our minds.
So consider this.
Okay.
If deliberately focusing on optimism can physically build stronger neural pathways in our brains,
Right?
what is the constant stream of modern media, 24-hour news cycles, and algorithmic social media passively wiring into our brains without us even realizing it?
Oh, wow.
Are we actively shaping our own minds, or are we quietly letting our environment do the wiring for us?
That is a deeply important and slightly unsettling question to reflect on today.
It really is. Thank you so much for spending this time with us, for learning with us, and for exploring these incredible ideas.
We really appreciate it.
Keep practicing those English phrases, and keep paying close attention to those thoughts.
Thank you so much for joining this conversation, and take wonderful care of yourselves.
Goodbye for now.